2000 Lexus GS300. I will be checking the brake pads, and I believe I'm probably going to be putting on some new brake pads. In any event, before jacking it up, you want to loosen the lug nuts. So I got my lug wrench here and loosen these all up. After they're just a little bit loose, then I'll take the floor jack and jack it up, and then finish taking the lug nuts off and remove the tire. Okay, there's a pin that's got this little keeper that goes in this hole here, and this is the position it was in. It was in here like that, and it was just that pin, this little clip was holding this pin in. And to be able to try to get this pin to pull out, there's this this little anti-rattle clip. Okay, and when it's in there, this piece down here, this piece that looks like a tongue right here, it just goes behind this thing, and that tongue, when it's in there, that tongue sits right here. You can see right by my fingernail, that little spot that's a little bit cleaner right there, that's where that little tongue was sitting. So to get this thing to come out, you just pull it like this and then push that tongue so that it goes back in here and then up and out right here. So and now I'm just going to get this little pin right here. I'm just gonna tap on it here. Oh, look, it's coming out real easy. Wow. So yeah, it's just coming out real easy. It didn't even need no tools. Okay, so now this bleeder screw up here, I will loosen this, put a drip pan underneath, and with a pry bar, let's see, that sunlight. Okay, so this is the outside pad, this is the inside pad, and you've got a piston that pushes on this one, and you got a piston that pushes on this one. So when I loosen this little piece here, I'll loosen that a little bit, and we'll start getting some wet stuff coming out. And with the drip pan down here, I'll take a pry bar, and I will pry to push that piston this way, and then I will pry to push that piston that way. Now the best way to do it would be right in here on this side of the, because this piece I'm touching, that's this piece that's wiggling, that's the inside pad. This is the outside pad. So I'm gonna get my pry bar in here, that way I'm not putting my pry bar, because if you were to put the pry bar on the wrong side, where my finger's touching right now, you don't want to put the pry bar there, because your piston that pushes on the brake pad is literally right there. So you want to be in between the pad and the rotor. So get in here and pry on it to push that piston back, and then same thing over here between the center and here, and pry to push that piston back. And with this a little loose, that fluid will just come right out, and I'll have a drip pan to catch it, and then these pads will just slide right on out, and then everything in reverse order to put it back together, which would be pushing the calipers all the way back to receive the new pads, and sliding the new pads into place, and putting that pin back in, putting the anti-rattle clip back in, and then putting in that little clip that holds the pin in, and then tightening this little leak valve here. So it's a pretty simple procedure. Okay, I loosened that up a little bit, and then I started prying just like I was talking about from the center. And right now I'm pushing the rear caliper back. So when I push this back, you'll see it just kind of squirts right on out. And I've just got a little screwdriver that I'm using to push that caliper back. See, I'm pushing on the brake pad. See, you don't want to push on the caliper itself, the piston. So same thing with this front one. I'm going to make sure I get right here and get the screwdriver in there and pry on that front one as well. And then the pads will just slide right out. I'll go ahead and get this back one out so you can see this back one. See, it just slides right out. So it's really that easy. Okay, so right now I'm pushing that front brake pad. I'm getting that front caliper pushed back, and I'm actually using that hole in the brake pad. I got the screwdriver wedged in there, and I'm just prying towards myself, and you'll notice that brake fluid just comes right on out, and it pushes that caliper back real nice and good. You can see that back caliper's back good all the way. So we'll just make sure this other one's back good all the way. There we go. It's back real good. So now we can just slide this one out, and then everything in reverse order going back in. It's pretty simple. Okay, so now we're putting in the new pads, and so this is a new pad, and I actually didn't have any of the brake grease that you're put on the back of the pad to keep it from sticking to the caliper. So some used motor oil, I just lightly put just a tiny bit there. That way it's not going to be sticking to the caliper. And you will notice that yeah, they just drop right in, and make sure you always put them in the right direction so that the pad part is touching the rotor. But yeah, it just slides right in, and then boom. Yeah, it's pretty simple. So now we can put that little pin back in, and that pin, let's see, that pin was in here like this. Takes a little wiggling, but you just wiggle it in, and once you get it in, okay, so the head, it's like long on one side, and you just turn it so that it's like that. Okay, and then so this little clip, that little tongue, will go back behind that. Now it might take two hands, but it goes behind that. And yeah, I'm gonna have to set this down and show you what it looks like. Okay, so when the clip's in there like this, it just rests right there, and it just pops in behind that pin. And then that little quarter pin, you just pop it in, and I came from the top and just pushed until it clicked through. So now we're ready to go ahead, and now I did already tighten this back up, so the new pads are in, and now we just put the wheel back on, put the lug nuts back on, lower it down to the ground, and we will make sure that we pump the brakes quite a bit. I'm probably going to pump the brakes 5 or 6 good times before I even try to move it out of park. And also I will be checking my fluid level to make sure whether or not I need to add any more brake fluid, since we bled a little bit out pushing those calipers back. But in any event, it's a pretty simple process. So for anybody this video may help, good luck. Okay, and then the last step after putting on the new brake pads, make sure you got enough fluid in your little brake fluid reservoir. So once you've got it the correct fluid amount, and on the side of the container you can see, it's hard to see, I've got poor lighting, but there's a line that says minimum and there's a line that says maximum. So what I do is get mine kind of close to the maximum, and then for the next couple of days I'll just pop the hood, take a look, and make sure it's holding good. So for anybody this video may help, good luck. Bye.